Back in Baden at EPT number 3 this season, and it's the final day, 8 survivors. What's happened, Stig?
Well, Vladimir Polshok, he was the chip leader going into the final table. He actually knocked out 3 consecutive players in the first 45 minutes. First, he knocked out Anton Alman from Switzerland. Then he flopped a nut flush against Ted Lawson from the United States. And then finally, Manfred Hammer from Germany was knocked out by Polshok. So he had a big chip lead. Thomas Fuller from the United States, he knocked out Thierry van den Berg from Holland. Thomas played really well. He was a chip leader at the point, but unfortunately he was knocked out in 4th place. And here's what Thomas had to say after his demise. Thomas Fuller, I'm sad to say you've just been eliminated in 4th place. You were chip leader for quite a while, but then you got involved in a hand with Julian Few. Tell us what happened.
Well, I just had taken the chip lead shortly after dinner. I won a few pots after dinner, and suddenly forgetting his name, Vladimir raised under the gun, and I had 2 6s, and Vladimir is pretty tight, but I thought that he's pretty predictable after the flop. So against a lot of players, I would re-raise because I wouldn't know what to do after the flop. But against Vladimir, I decided to call and take a flop with the 6s and just make my decision then. And then Julian called in the big blind after it looked like he was thinking about re-raising, but he just called. Then the flop came King Queen 6 with 2 clubs, so I nailed it perfectly. Pretty much the nuts. We know Julian doesn't have queens or kings, so the only hand that could beat me is kings or queens if Vladimir had it. They both checked to me, and I have a pattern of checking when I miss and betting when I hit. So I considered checking it, but they're straight draws, flush draws, so I just decided to bet it. And I was joyous when Julian raised, because I had the nuts against him. There's no way that he could have had me beat. And he raised a very large amount, which made me think that he probably had a draw. There was a lot of draws on the flop, so I figured he had a pair and a flush draw, or an ace-high flush draw, or a straight draw and a flush draw, something like that. But I was hoping that he had king-queen. I didn't think he'd really play any hand except king-queen or a draw like that. When it got back to me, I had a pretty easy all-in. I could have called and seen if it was a club, but there was so much money in the pot I couldn't have even folded at that point. So I called. So I moved all in, and Julian had to call. He was committed to the pot. I knew that he was going to call. And he had the queen-8 of clubs, and he made the flush on the turn and the river. So that was the crucial pot. And then I was very, very short after that, and I had to move all in the small blind with any 2 cards. And I actually had an ace, but the big blind had 7s. And that was it.
That was it, 4th place here in Baden. But we talked last night, Thomas, and you told me that you actually had to finish 4th or better to break even in tournament buy-ins. Now you've done that, at least.
Yeah, well, my last 18 tournaments before this, with a buy-in of over $5,000, I failed to cash. Played not very good and took a lot of bad beats. And in this tournament, I played pretty well, and I didn't take any bad beats for big pots until the one with 4 players left. So I'm not at all upset. I'm very happy.
So what does the future hold for Thomas Fuller?
I'm heading back to the States in a couple days, and after that, I'll continue to play a steady diet of tournaments, live tournaments, maybe one major every couple months, that sort of thing. And I will continue to play online. I am a professional, but I'm a fairly casual player. I don't play that much, and this will give me some space to continue to take it easy and not play that much.
Thomas brought home 160,000 euros for his 4th place finish.
Former Soviet Army officer Vladimir Polshok finished 3rd, 225 euros. That should put him in vodka and caviar for a while.
Yeah, and then they were down to heads up.
Julian Few, he started the heads up with 1,736,000. Dennis Kahlo, he started with just over 1 million. The heads up didn't really last that long, just an hour, and we had a winner. First of all, Julian Few, congratulations on winning here in Baden. But I mean, you've cashed in a lot of tournaments. I believe you have like 6 cashes in the EPT alone. Yeah. How does it feel to finally win one?
I can't believe it. It hasn't sunk in. You think it can happen, but it's so tough. The fields are so big now, and the standard of play is so good. It's a minefield, you know. So you kind of think it can happen, but on the other hand, you think it'll never happen. So yeah, it's to win is just amazing.
Tell us about your day, Julian.
I had a really good day. I came in sort of nearly chip leader, and I played fairly solid. Gambled in the right spots. I got lucky against, I think it's Thomas, the American lad. I'd top pair, I'd have flush drawn a pair, and he had a set of sixes. So whoever wins that pot wins the competition, basically. And I was lucky. I won the pot. If I don't win that pot, he wins.
But you gotta have luck to win a tournament like this, Julian.
I had luck 2 or 3 times. Yeah.
So 670,000 euros. Yeah. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, I know. Even in pounds, it's a lot of money.
Okay, once again, Julian, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So, that's it here from beautiful Baden, but we'll be back in Dublin later this month.
Yeah, so until then, I'm Lars Peter Landmark.
And I'm Stig Moon.
We'll see you.